Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 13th of December for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me because then I will dive deep and in forensic detail give you the inside track for your particular zodiac sign. This week begins with Mercury moving from the sign of Sagittarius into the earth sign of Capricorn. Now Mercury is very effective in Capricorn, particularly around business matters, but is replaced in the sign of Sagittarius by Mars. Now Mars governs the second decan of Sagittarius, so it's very much at home in this sign. Sagittarius energy is very much to do with being adventurous and pioneering and buccaneering, and the Sun stays in the sign of Sagittarius, and Mercury and Mars are going to be in a semi-sextile this week, which is very enabling, so that's something to really appreciate. I should say that Mercury joins up with Venus and Pluto in Capricorn, so if there are things that we need to grapple with of a more material nature, or it is around a relationship situation where we're looking to get some greater clarity about just how steadfast it is or not, the discussions that can follow from Mercury in that arena, along with Venus and Pluto, can be very helpful. But of course, due to COVID regulations, it's not so easy to think about widening our horizons in a more physical way with the arrival of Mars in Sagittarius. But the Sun this week forges an amazing link to Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so there's a receptivity here. And this angle, the sextile between the Sun and Jupiter, is probably one of the most fortunate ones that can be struck in astrology. So if there is something around a group activity, a wider principle that you're really interested in, that you can come together with people, even if that's not physically possible, perhaps through the internet, the uplifting energy of the Sun and Jupiter really can be something we can all appreciate this week. And for some lucky people, depending on their nativities, their natal charts, this could bring about a real stroke of giant fortune. Now this is a week, of course, when we do have a full moon, and this full moon occurs in the sign of Gemini, which is very fleet-footed, ruled by Mercury, but it's forging a really uplifting link with Jupiter too. So there's a lot to be excited about this week, but it has to be said that Venus does go into retrograde as the week draws to a close, which goes on through to the 29th of January. But there's a lovely link between Uranus and Mercury as the week draws to a close. So if we are thinking about trying to make the most of our resources, an imaginative idea, thinking about something to do with technology that provides a service to others and maybe earns an income to us, can also be something that inspires. So in general, a really sparkling week. But if you're new to my channel, I would be honoured if you'd subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And if you'd like to order your year 2022 personal forecast, you can do that by clicking on the link beneath this video. You can get a character analysis as well, 30% off, the rest of this year free, or if you order earlier in January, you can get the full 12 months from the point of that order. Gain searing insights into how your personal astrology is evolving in relation to the planets moving in the sky above us. But stay with me for that detailed forecast next. Hello Capricorn and welcome to your in-depth forecast for week commencing the 13th of December. The next couple of months is going to be a very interesting phase in your whole life, I feel. There's going to be a lot of energy in your sign, which gives you the opportunity to manifest your individuality. But the key to your success is also going to be very much in being in tune with the more psychological side of your needs. That's borne out this week with the arrival of Mars in your 12th house. It's going to be here for 6 weeks. This can be quite a tricky transit if we don't give ourselves permission to meet what energies it arouses head on. So Mars in the 12th house can stir up old hurts, old angers, things that are more in the sediment of our being, really. Sometimes things that we feel we've dealt with them and we've moved on, but Mars is a very antagonistic energy. So the 12th house is a very delicate part of our being. It's to do with some of the things we don't always want to look at. But this can be a real opportunity for you because the Sun in this location links fabulously well to Jupiter this week in your second house of everyday resources. What you've been doing behind the scenes, or someone from your past who's been influential, it could be an old colleague, quite honestly, can come back into your situation and offer you a chance to re-engage with them, and that could have some real financial benefits. So just be aware that the arrival of Mercury in your sign is the start of a process of incredible creativity. You still have Venus and Pluto in your sign. Of course, Venus goes retrograde at the end of this week, and they had been conjunct at the end of last week. And it is an intense conjunction because it's about your individuality. You're wanting to feel that you can really be true to yourself, the way you want to relate to people. They're asking you to relate in the most authentic way possibly. Be relaxed about that relating, but be sincere. But Mars there is something you can't just ignore. It can be an asset to you if you're prepared to work hard behind the scenes. The 12th house is very much to do with institutions, hospitals, big organizations. If you're prepared to really invest a lot of application there and put your own individual agenda slightly to one side, you can prepare in the 6 weeks before it enters your sign on the 24th of January, prepare the way to really launch forwards from the third week of January in such an effective way. So see it as a preparation, an important energy that cannot be ignored. It needs to be embraced. Now, of course, by the end of this week, there is a full moon. This emphasizes the 6th, 12th house polarity. The 12th house where the Sun is that more psychological, delicate, sometimes anxious energy. On the other side of the heavens, the full moon in Gemini is to do with practicalities. Too much emphasis on practicalities means that things will get out of shape in terms of how you feel, the more sensitive side of things. Too much emphasis on the sensitive side of things, the more practical side of life will drift. Now, because you're a very redoubtable sign and work through things in a very, you take on challenges in a way that others can find more difficult, you will work with these energies very well. And in fact, Mercury by the end of this week is forging an amazing link with Uranus, and that can really light up your imagination, and innovation can be something that's starting to percolate in your mind. But it's almost like this is a week where you're going between two sets of circumstances. You're not quite sprinting towards your key goals for the end of this year and the start of 2022, but you're kind of having to set the objectives, but also be attuned to what's going on in the back end of your situation. So there may be some strands that still need to be cleared up, or some preparation that you need to put in place. Just try to be philosophical about this.